Hey, Bulls and Bears, back with another dose of economic reality. Yes, we are back with another financial crisis slash economic collapse update. Now, I apologize, I didn't get a video out yesterday, so I really appreciate all of you that are watching right now coming back to watch this here today. Yesterday was a day of getting some things in order as far as the channel goes and the new devices that I now have. Part of it's integrating this mic right here, a little lapel mic you have that I clip on my shirt here. Hopefully that's going to help with the sound quality. And a lot of you, some of you gave me that feedback. You say, hey, get a lapel mic because the audio wasn't top notch like it should have been. So I had to figure out how to integrate that with my camera that you're watching me on, which is, I think, a lot better picture quality. But let's get into the financial economic news. We'll talk more about the channel stuff and the things I've been doing here at the end of this. Let's get right into the news. Personal savings rate, the funds that people have, the cash that people have left over after they pay their monthly expenses. Another awful, dismal reading. Dismal reading. Just came out a couple weeks ago. We are at the lowest U.S. savings rate since about October 2009. Folks, 2009, we were coming out of the financial crisis. And that's where we're at right now. But yet people don't realize that this is a financial crisis. And I know I got a bunch of messages yesterday. JJ, look at the stock market. You said the stock market was going to crash. No. If you are hearing the word crash coming out of my mouth, it's not to do with the markets. The markets can be propped up. What's not being propped up is people's savings. People are getting wiped out financially. They're going deeper in debt. The savings rate continues to plunge. So there's a crash happening. You just have to realize where to look, right? The markets, the top 10% that own about 80% of all stocks, they're going to be fine. And actually, a lot of them got out of the market before the drop that we saw here. Remember, we're still in bear market territory. Most major indexes are between 15 and 20% on the downside compared to the peaks. So you may see some green days here and there. I still think the long term, I shouldn't say long term, I still think the near term trend is down. You may see some bounces. We saw some big green days here just recently. But look at the savings rate. Savings rate continues to go into just crisis territory. Again, financial crisis time frame here. Let's talk about some other news. Evictions are on the rise. I've got just a heartbreaking story to share with everyone here. Now, you guys know from time to time I try to have fun. I try to act goofy. I put out a couple thumbnails that may look silly with me making a crazy face or something like that. But I don't want that to take away from the seriousness of the situation. I don't want this to distract you from the fact that we really need to prepare for what's coming, because there's not going to be a superhero coming in to save us here. There's not going to be a magic pill that's going to come in and fix all this, right? So yes, of course, we want to laugh. We want to act. I act goofy every now and then. If you saw me outside of the videos that I make here, you would think I was a maniac. Just acting crazy with my kids and just a few friends that I hang out with. But this is serious times. Yes, we need to have fun. We need to joke. Being stressed out about the situation is not the solution. I like watching comedy shows. I like getting my mind off of this whole economic crisis that we're in and that we're getting deeper in. But the scariest part is that most people still don't realize it. They don't realize that the savings rate is the lowest that it's been since the financial crisis. And people that are in the situation themselves, they may think that they are unique or that they are in the minority. It's actually most people. When you look at the overall savings rate, this tells us that most people are feeling the pinch big time right now. And prices for most goods and items and what we need to survive, prices are not coming down for the most part. For the most part, they're staying high. Gas and oil down a little bit, but these are still over $100 a barrel here now recently. We did see a dip below $100. It's now back up. So not much relief on the horizon. In fact, things are about ready to get a lot worse as we head into later this year. Let's talk about some other news. I've got a lot of articles that I researched today. We saw the Fed balance sheet rise again over the past couple weeks. Isn't that interesting how when the big green days happen in the markets, it's always, in most cases, a lot of cases anyways, at the same time as the Fed balance sheet rises, right? They're buying securities, they're buying the stock market, and or it could just be a coincidence that every time the Fed balance sheet raises, we see a massive bull market, and every time the Fed sheds assets from their balance sheet, then we see market weakness. Again, could be a complete coincidence. Let me know what you think about that down in the comments. Big coincidence or what's happening there? The labor force participation rate. There's this talk about unemployment so low, everything's great. We're in this recovery right now. Another stat here, another chart, piece of data that tells us that that's all phony. Still, we have not recovered. We're still way above where we were pre-pandemic. So where is the recovery? Why is the saving rate plunging? You mean all the people that are draining their checking accounts, they're not getting rich in the stock market? With these green days, everybody's not getting rich on that. It's a joke. Evictions continue to get worse. Here's a sad story out of Atlanta. Atlanta is one of the cities where big investors came in and bought so many homes and really raised people's rents very drastically. And here's just one of, I'm sure, millions of examples here in the city of Atlanta and many other cities across the United States. Quote from this article, this is out of 46 News. I'll die. Cancer-stricken woman tased, evicted from her home. This is the metro Atlanta area. I'm just going to read some excerpts out of this here. McKinney was admitted as she fell behind on her rents. The property managers had to kick in the door because the marshals didn't want to be responsible for the damage. So she didn't cooperate with the eviction notice. They had to go in and get her. She was afraid of being homeless. She also had, of course, this health situation with her cancer. Her daughter was there crying as they tased her and took her out of the home. Oh, how nice. They gave her a storage unit just blocks from her medical facility. I wonder how long it's going to take before she falls behind on the storage unit rent. I'll link to this article, folks. I'll link to the charts too, just so you guys can take a look at it. It's going to get worse. And, we see these rents just skyrocketing. People got relief during the health crisis with the moratoriums and the cancellation of rents. All of you know this, right? Still 2 million homes under the foreclosure moratorium that haven't gotten out of that program. It started off with about 7 million, but still today, 2 years beyond this, we're still 2 million people in this foreclosure moratorium, right? So what kind of recovery is this, right? So many things that we look at have not recovered. In fact, most of it's worse since pre-pandemic. Absolutely outrageous. Let's talk about a couple other things today. We're going to wrap this up here. Please give me feedback on the audio quality. We're going to talk more about the mic situation, the camera situation, and some channel information here in just a couple minutes. States with the lowest rent and the city with the lowest rent. You guys want solutions? And you say, I'm just giving you bad news and no solutions. Well, here's the solution. If you're having trouble paying your rent, maybe you're in Atlanta, or maybe you're in one of these cities where rent's just skyrocketed. By the way, the eviction story that we just talked about with the woman with cancer, her rent went from $1,500 to $3,000 in just about 3 years. A doubling of rent in 3 years. That's just, it's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. We talk about how incomes haven't matched the cost of living, and that's just one example that's just blatant right there, right? A doubling in rent in 3 years. How many people are getting double their income in 3 years? Maybe some of the big hedge fund managers, maybe a lot of the CEOs, most of the people in the top 10%, I'm sure they saw their incomes increase probably double, but even if not double, I mean, compared to what the average working person is getting here in the U.S., it's outrageous. The city for the lowest rent, not counting all the tens of thousands of really small cities, but of the bigger cities, the cheapest place to rent, Oklahoma City. Now, this is out of 24/7 Wall Street. The data is a couple months old, but it should still be pretty accurate. Among the 50 largest markets, one stands out as the lowest median rent rate per month. Oklahoma City, $834 a month. That's a couple months old. Who knows? It probably went up since then. No other city had a median rent figure below $1,000. So there you go. There's your solution if you're having trouble paying your rent. Go to Oklahoma City, and hopefully you won't have a tornado come through there. It's something wherever you go, folks. If you want low-cost living, you're going to be living in a bad neighborhood. You're going to be living in a state with not many jobs or with severe weather risk, if you know what I mean. It's just, please let me know what you think down in the comments about this audio. Is the mic sounding better? How's the camera quality? How's my setup here? And my other camera that I'm going to use when I go outside to film stuff, I'm still figuring that one out. But thank you all for your support. You're the reason why I was able to upgrade and try to get the audio and video quality a little bit better for these updates. The information is going to be always top-notch. I'm always going to give you all the latest important economic news and data. Focusing on the United States, there's a lot of things happening globally that other people are reporting on. Of course, there's war. There's so many directions we can take on this channel, but we're going to try to stick with your money, my money, our financial situation here. We do live in a global society where globalism has had the United States and ourselves here dependent on foreign goods for so long. We have to talk about the big picture, the macro, and we'll dip into global news events here because it does affect us. But we hope you like this update today. Thanks everybody for being here. Be well. Keep stacking. Peace. Bye.